Yeah, I think that when you're thinking about the only advantage that a startup or a very small company could have is growth mindset and being innovative and fast and changing fast. And this is something that is very hard for somebody who is very successful in a very successful corporate right now. That might change in 5 years, but right now you're very successful. So just to say, I might not know something, not saying like I don't know, that's like too much, but to really admit that there are some things that somebody, much younger than you with
Yeah,
very less experience than you might know better than you.
definitely. It's part of like levels of maturity and vulnerability and being open to ideas and not expecting anything of where they should be coming from. And also, have you heard like the prevention versus promotion mindset?
Yeah.
So that's like a really interesting concept around like basically sort of shooting to win versus shooting to not fail. And so the more you have, the more your like mindset is around not losing what you have. Whereas as a startup, you don't have anything. So you can just make crazy bets on like different new technologies or whatever, and like you really shoot to win. Whereas as a big company, you've got like all your processes and standards, and you've got a product that works. You just want to keep on making as much money from that product as you can. And so you're kind of shooting to not fail, but keep on doing how you are doing. You're not trying to like 100x your like company in the next sort of year and stuff. And there's some interesting studies on science around like how this works. And if you look at people like when they're taking penalty shootouts, if they're like on the last shootout where they're kicking the ball to try and like not lose, they're much more likely to fail. Whereas like if they've got like to the final kick where like if they score, they're going to win. I think it's sort of 80% more likely that they're then going to win, just because of like your mindset around like, cool, I'm doing it. This is like my moment. I'm going to be the winner. Whereas like if it's like, oh, this is all going to go wrong, you're kind of focusing on like things are going wrong and stuff. And yeah, it's very interesting the way your
it's
mind works.
interesting that the fact what you're saying about something which is personal as a person,
Yeah,
because I have something to lose. Maybe I have my own, like I'm very important in this company. I'm one of the C-level, or I have my own prestige, or I have money.
yeah,
I'm afraid to lose something that I
yeah,
own.
definitely.
And when you're young, you don't have that much that you could lose, and staying young in your mind is still growing, right? It's still learning.
Yeah, definitely. You
So
never get fired by like suggesting, oh, let's do the same thing that worked and stuff. Whereas you're always risking something when you try and go for with some crazy ideas, and you're like, oh, let's do this like completely nuts thing that we've never done before as a company. Like that
yeah,
could get you like losing your job, etc. if it doesn't work out. So
yeah.
it's
Most
very hard.
people say you don't get fired for bringing EY to write your report or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, or
exactly.
Accenture.
Yeah,
Because like this is what we've done till now. Let's do it again. It worked till now. And I
yeah.
think that that's a really big problem. And if we're talking about what needs to be learned or maybe unlearned in some cases, is the fact that what has worked in the past, and it could be like decades, is not, you don't have any insurance for that it still will work. And then
Yeah.
people need to think about themselves, like I was such a successful CEO till now, and like, they're more or less like 3 years, 4 years until they go to another job. And they say, okay, why should I lose all the credentials that I have for trying something that's, maybe it's crazy to try something new, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then it's like collapsing afterwards when it's not working anymore. Do you think that growth mindset is even more important right now after within the corona crisis, or it hasn't changed?
Well, yeah, I guess it's probably more important in many ways. I mean, it's always pretty essential, but in terms of like self-limiting beliefs with the coronavirus going on, there's a lot of easy opportunities to be like, oh, things are difficult right now. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm an investor in quite a few different companies, and some like you see their reports where they're like, oh, it's such a difficult time, we're not doing these, and like they just are so negative. And that's like, oh, there's so much opportunity, like we're killing us, and they're like the same type of business doing the same sort of thing. And you're like, it's just different people, sort of the way they see things. And when you see problems as opportunities, that's when like you make stuff. So it's certainly a bit of a leveler around many companies, and then like giving people who are more open to opportunity the opportunities to sort of make the most of it. And yeah, it's definitely keeps you a much more positive framing of things.
Yeah, I think that McKinsey had a report saying that most C-level management say that it's going to be the most challenging time of their like career.
Yeah.
Although they really know that there are so many new opportunities growing from it. And most of them would say that they don't feel that they have enough, like the skills, the tools, and what's really needed in order to create this corporate change, innovation. This is what they would say. Would you say that growth mindset is something that they should
Yeah.
learn? And
Yeah, they should definitely be like adopting it, because it's sort of, well, I guess the framework of like where your comfort zone is, and if you're always in your zone of comfort, you're like you're not really growing and stuff. And if you're like always sort of outside your zone of comfort, you're always like growing and learning. And this is definitely something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone, which is a great way for you to learn. Okay, this is how I go through like massive amounts of change. This is like a really chance to like show up as a leader and do something radical. And that's where like the good leaders are going to go with this. And people that are sort of like scared and like, oh, this is difficult, are going to not do well and not learn new skills. And this is like their moment to show up and actually do something cool. Like, take it.